Diablo 4 Lords of Hatred just released and brought us a bunch of changes to the Sorcerer class. Experimenting with those, I found that Spark and Static Blizzard are just really solid options with lots of damage, incredible AoE, no or nearly no mana cost, great defenses and a very simple playstyle. If this sounds like something for you, I will tell you how to level this class the fastest way you can. We'll use no legendary aspects, no uniques, and no steep requirements for the journey. The build will go over the level ranges 1 to 13, 13 to 38, and 38 to level 70. Why? Because the tree now unlocks sections that unlock with specific level thresholds, so you have to change playstyles throughout your journey if you want to play this specific build. First up, on a fresh leveling character, you go to the inventory with I, then to wardrobe, and then you are going to choose a pet. The second important thing is the mercenary section. You need to visit the den. You just travel the den through this option and will transport you right at the start. So you can choose 2 of them to support you right from the get-go. For a mercenary, you want Subo. Provides you with 20% movement speed once he uses the wire trap skill. And the trip mines provide them with vulnerable, so 20% more damage. And for the reinforcement, I like Rahir because he can provide me with Ground Slam, which is a heal. But you can go with the Taunt as well, which is found here, so you can get a little bit of damage reduction. So initially, during the leveling process, we're going to utilize between level 1 and level 14 Arc Lash. Arc Lash will combine at level 5 with Ferocity, so we have 20 additional attack speed through 4 stacks of Ferocity. This will deal moderate amounts of damage, but we want to deal really good damage in the early game. So we're going to combine this with Frozen Orb with damage over time bonus for 100% more frostbite damage, and level 14, which we switch to Electric Blast. We don't need to look at those at all. So this will carry you until level 14. Just follow the quest line. Nothing else to see here. You can put 1 point in teleport, get a little bit of movement speed and ferocity stacking going right here. But those 2 should be enough to get you to level 14. During level 14, you will be able to find your first talismans. This will look like this one. So unlocks 3 charm slots, and you will find stuff like cold resistance, impairment, but you can also find some really valuable ones like +2 to core skills or attack speed ones. If you find a few good ones like this one with +9 bonus skill experience, you will be in a very good shape. As for your early equipment, just find something with intelligence. That's the primary stat you're looking for. I have it on all my gear pieces because it's going to boost your damage considerably just through this one. That's a more multiplier. And for your weapon, you want to have the highest damage per second weapon you can find. At level 14, you're going to respec. At this point, we want Spark, as well as additional hits. Additional hits here. So we now have +5. And then we pick up Electric Blast. Electric Blast will more multiply our damage by 50%. And we're going to put all our ranks into Spark. So we have 15 ranks in this one. This will provide us with 450% damage. It is extremely easy to play, and it mirrors basically what we're going to do at level 38 already, just with a smaller AoE and with initial damage. We want to utilize teleport, we want to utilize ice armor, and that's about it. There's a few more things we want to look into, but more on that a little bit later. The most important thing is here that the build at this point is extremely simple. You're just pressing 1 button to deal all your damage, but for single target, you want a little bit more oomph. With level 24, you can unlock ramping currents, so you have a chance to cast something twice that procs here. You can proc ball lightning, chain lightning, charge bolts, and lightning spear. It doesn't matter if you put points into those, they will deal enough damage anyway. What I recommend is ball lightning with ferocity as well as crackling lightning. It's a little bit of bonus damage, and you will sustain your ferocity at 6 stacks because we are going to pick up ferocity here as well as damage bonus here for 20% more damage. The duration scales with ranks. So we now at 17 ranks have a duration of 28.5 seconds with a cooldown of 116. The cooldown overlaps with the duration, so we will end up at around 80 seconds of downtime. With a little bit more investment, we can get this one down to nearly 100% uptime. At this point, we are going to also introduce Familiar with Healing Flames. Healing Flames will provide us with a little bit of health restoration as well as Overpower. Now, Overpower has the neat effect that it's going to boost our damage by 15% per stack. We can stack this one up to 4, so 2 Familiar casts will provide you with a 60% damage bonus, which is very, very good at this point in the game. You don't have many multipliers and increased damage modifiers on your gear, So this one will boost your damage considerably. There is no passive effects on the tree. So at this point, you're going to run around and just spam your spark in an AoE, pop your unstable currents for bosses or harder enemies, and then proceed with the game. As for your gear, we are going to start to temper our gear a little bit. What this means is you're going to look at some valuable rings with intelligence, more damage multipliers, attack speed, crit strike chance, and then temper shock damage onto them. So you're going to increase your damage considerably just through that. But at that point, I would highly advise you to go with either shock damage, which I go for basically all the time, because this one is going to be something you unlock very early on through just the campaign. Later on, you will find damage with 30% or more, or conditional damage modifiers, but during the campaign, shock is all you will have. So you're going to temper this one onto your gear. This will cost a little bit of resources, veiled crystals 10, as well as iron chunks 30, but it is well worth the investment at this point in the game. So you will be set for like 5, 6, 7, or 8 levels before you have to do it again. If you find a really good amulet like this one with life on hit, intelligence, cooldown reduction, movement speed, attack speed, any ranks to your mastery skills or your core skills or whatever, you can think about putting movement speed on this one. I found this one relatively early at level 20 with a really good aspect, so I have been using this one throughout the campaign, but it's not essential to the build. Now if you find a weapon with a socket, you can use chipped topaz or crude topaz to get a more multiplier to lightning damage. For your talismans, nothing changes here. Bonus skill experience, shock skills, core skills, basic skills in this case would be better. So if you previously found one with core skills, you would want to exchange this one for bonus skill experience or something else. And if you find enough of the set charms, you can slot those in for additional movement speed and attack speed with a 2-piece set bonus here. So those don't change all too much. Once you get to 38, the fun begins. You're going to spec out of every basic skill, all the core skills. You're going to spec in a little bit of barrier generation here. You keep your familiar, and then we are going to spec into Blizzard. All your points go into Blizzard. And as you can see here, 7.8k% scaling. Seems like a lot for 1.5 seconds. Static field buffs your damage a lot and reduces your mana cost by a lot and provides a stun, which is insane. When we take this one out, we increase our mana cost to 39 instead of 15. And we are looking at 6-second duration for half the damage. This one is like the single best click you can do on the sorcerer tree. You immediately like times 10 your damage just from doing this. It's like a massive, like an absolute humongous skill range. We are in Pentinent difficulty currently, and we are just, look at this. We deal so much damage. We're in Pentinent difficulty with crap gear at level 53, and everything is melting. All of those overlap. So, and seek enemies. Look at this. It's absolutely insane. We have a ton of mobility with our teleport on our evade, as well as our regular teleport. We have our shield armor. We can use flame shield for another speed boost, as well as crackling lightning. So it's very simple to play. You just press one button, then you throw in a few more just for utility. So for Blizzard, we pick up damage bonus. So when we crowd control enemies, we crowd control them anyway because we stun them for 0.25 seconds. We deal 30% more damage. Then we have seek and duration bonus. So 50% increased duration. That's like a 50% damage more multiplier because we can overlap more blizzards. And we have now the ability to seek enemies. So as you have seen in the gameplay, they fly towards enemies with relatively high speed. So you have much better uptime on this one. And then we go into the utility. Now familiar, we pick up charge, as well as healing flames for 60% damage bonus. For ice armor, we pick up duration bonus and barrier, as well as cooldown reduction, so we have more uptime and a better barrier. For teleport, we pick up movement speed, as well as ferocity and electro bolt. Electro bolt will suck up all the Kraken energy, which I will go over in a minute. Ferocity gives us 10% attack speed, or in this case 4 if we stack 4. We have flame shield with cooldown reduction, as well as duration bonus and Flash. Flash will provide us with more crackling energy, increased movement speed, and a dot chance. Still is really good for damage because crackling energy can be absorbed through Boundless with our unstable currents, with ferocity as well as damage bonus, 20% more damage. Boundless provides us with a crackling energy lucky hit chance, so we spawn a crackling energy. And once we pick up crackling energy, We increase our shock skill damage, stacking, by the way, and reduce our cooldown of unstable current. And you automatically absorb crackling energy. And with Electro Bolt, you're going to suck up all the crackling energy if you teleport immediately to an enemy because the crackling energy is somewhere else. So you have a better absorption of those energy particles that lie around the battlefield. Now, once we use unstable currents, we proc Ball Lightning, Chain Lightning, and Charge Bolt as well as Lightning Spear. Not as important for the build because those are negligible amounts of damage. However, Ball Lightning provides us with Ferocity, so 1 stack of Ferocity every time a Ball Lightning spawns, and Crackling Energy when it dissipates, free Crackling Energy. So we have a lot of Crackling Energy uptime with this one. Now that's a synergistic explanation here. Now on how or what to max out. Flame Shield provides you with more movement speed, a little bit more dodge, and Crackling Energy per second. Then you have Ice Armor with more barrier amount. Teleport only scales the damage, not the cooldown, so skill points here are wasted. Same with Familiar. But you want to max out unstable currents as well as Blizzard. You can also think about a few points in Charge Balls and Chain Lightning to get those more multipliers, so you have better damage when you use your unstable currents for those. Same with Lightning Spear. For Ball Lightning, you can think of Implosion. Implosion sucks up enemies into a single point, but because our AoE is so big, it doesn't really matter. So Attraction is probably the better option here, or Orbital, so those orbs stay around you, so when they dissipate, you grab the Crackling Energy, and that's about it. At this point, I would also think about optimization. I already went through the talismans here. You want still bonus kill experience, shock skills, core skills. Blizzard is core skill. You want movement speed, attack speed, gold find. All of this is really important. Now, as for the gear, what you're going to look for is all damage, damage over time, intelligence, core skills. On your boots, you can find Ball Lightning, movement speed, you can find mastery. On your amulet, you can also find ranks to mastery skills, core skills. You can find movement speed here, damage over time, intelligence, attack speed. The Sliver of Hate you will find at the very end of the campaign, so you're guaranteed to find this one, so you can equip it. It's also a good ring to have. Now, once you go to a blacksmith, you can temper your gear, which I highly recommend you to do. Damage over time here is a damage increase compared to the damage over time more multiplier you can see on the same item. Those are in 2 different buckets, so they multiply each other. So if you're lacking increases to damage, like I am currently, I have a lot of more multipliers on my gear. I would highly recommend it to go for something like this. Your unique rings you can also modify with this. All of those should be plus. Early on, you can go for shock damage, lightning damage. You can go for generic damage. This one is going to increase your damage quite substantially because we don't have additive increases. All of it is more multipliers, and all those more multipliers are in one bucket. So all damage multiplier, as well as the damage over time multiplier, as well as the lightning damage multiplier, all of those are added together and then multiply. As for gems, Chip Topaz at this point is really good. So if you find a weapon with 2 slots here, you can throw in 2 of those. You can just scrap the weapon later and then get those Chip Topaz back. I have not been using any of the runes yet because I don't have the necessary sockets. And that's about it. I really like this build, so I will be pushing this one further into Torment, and I will optimize this one with actually good legendary aspects and good gear and good stats, so you can actually find an endgame build of this skill. I'll work on this one, so you'll probably get an update tomorrow or in 1.5 days, and then I will do another update afterwards, hopefully already at the very end, but we will see how far I get. You can find the written leveling guide right here on my Mobalytics page. You can find them on my profile or linked down below, and this build specifically goes over the puzzle pieces as well as gear and skill tree changes for each specific leveling range. Down below you will also have a section how to play. It's a little bit lighter on the text side, but it conveys all that you need to know. Make sure to click on it and check it out because there is everything summed up what I try to teach you here. Now if you have any questions, please comment down below, like and subscribe if you haven't already. So see you next time. Bye.